In the words of Admiral Akbar, it's a trap. No, we're not talking about the Galactic Empire, I hope. But we are talking about dynasty trade traps. Who are players you should avoid trading for? We spoke about trades last week, so this is a return of dynasty trades. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of Dynasty Six Pack, part of the Fantasy Six Pack podcast network and YouTube channel. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Senra. Joining me is my co-host for the evening, Jamie Perog. Jamie, how are you doing?
I'm pretty sad because I'm missing my better part, man. I'm missing a part of my heart. Raul is not here tonight, as you can see. So we're going to keep you in our minds tonight while we talk about these traps. And we'll just move forward without you, man.
I hope Rahul hasn't fallen into a trap himself. No, planned absence. No need to worry. But yes, Rahul will be joining us next week. Until then, it's just Jamie and I tonight talking about dynasty traps. So trade traps. So the principle will be players we think you shouldn't trade for, essentially. After spending a lot of time last week talking about players you should trade for, coming up with trade ideas. The whole idea is just stop. Don't trade for these players. If you have them, maybe capitalize and trade them away. But we're specifically looking at players we think people would be, in theory, interested in buying this time of year. Clearly, it's that time of year trade deadlines too. The NFL trade deadline passed, so we'll talk about some news there. But if you want in-depth coverage of everything when it comes to football, NFL, fantasy football, check out fantasy6pack.net. Great website, a lot of great articles, great resources. I publish my weekly goal line guide, which we've referenced a lot on this show. I'm just basically looking for touchdown upside, and so I grade every team based on that. So that's just one example of tons of great content available again on fantasy6pack.net. There's also the Fantasy Six Pack Discord. If you want premium, exclusive, all access to everything, it's the all access membership, F6P all access membership, but at a reduced price right now if you use the promo code F6P Pods, F6PPODS. So that promo code gets you 15% off the all access membership. In season, tons of great DFS and betting content weekly, premium stuff, extra cheat sheets and exclusive rankings. There's channels in the Discord you'd also get access to that you normally wouldn't. So again, the Fantasy Six Pack all access membership, 15% discount when you use the promo code F6P Pods. No traps there at all. It's all great stuff, but there's definitely some dynasty landmines to avoid when it comes to potentially trading for players this time of year, Jamie. So this is your topic. So just quickly, what was your idea behind this before we talk about any specific players?
We got the trade deadline coming up. It depends on your league, but it could be in a few weeks from now. And at this point, we kind of know where our teams sit at. If you're a contender, you're looking to trade for certain contenders. If you're a rebuilder, you're trying to trade away some of the players. But as a contender, there's some players that you just want to stay away from. And same as a rebuilder, just don't go out and buy them. So in my mind, I just figured there's a lot of trash out there that we want to avoid. Let someone else get that dumpster fire. We don't want them in our lineups or on our teams. Let's get into some of these players.
And in some cases, it might just be as simple as we expect that price is so high that, okay, at this price you're paying, there's bound to be a better player at that cost.
Exactly, yes. Perfect.
All right, so, Jamie, it's your topic. We'll let you start off with the guy you want to talk about, and it's not even because you like or dislike this guy. Man, you love Roschon Johnson, though, and Kyle Monongai is standing in Roshan's way. The Trojan one, the Roshan one. I don't know. There's probably some bad, horrible attempt to make a nickname. About as fruitful as Roshan's productive career so far. I know I believed almost as much as you, Jamie, but it can't be all just Roshan hate, right? There's got to be a reason why you think Kyle Monongai is a dynasty trade trap. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Kyle Monongai is what I call him now. Moaning guy, because you're going to be moaning if you trade for him. So, but he exploded last week. We all seen it. 198 total yards. Uh, he was just filling in for DeAndre Swift, right? So it was more of like a injury fill in as opposed to this spectacular breakout that we all were looking for. But the dude's a 7th-round rookie pick. That's what his draft capital is, 7th round. We don't see many of those guys go off. Like Pacheco comes to mind, and look what he's valued at now. But those don't come around very often. So it is a risky buy because you're going to have to pay a 2nd-round pick for them. No one's going to give them up any cheaper. Are you willing to give up?
Especially now, right after this game, for sure. You're right. If you wanted to buy him, you would have had to do it before this week.
And the fact is, like, Swift is going to come back. He's going to take over that workload. Monongai's only going to go back to his 8 to 10 touches. Roshan was also out. So when he's back, he's going to get his 2 to 3. So that's going to take away a little bit. So
2 to 3 snaps?
2 to 3 touches.
Okay. I'm being really mean. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying there's other running backs in that area where you could actually rely on in the long term or even the short term rather than Kyle Monongai. For example, I'd rather go after Ramondre Stevenson for that same price in a win now situation. If you're in a rebuild, I'd rather go after Dylan Sampson, who's way more talented and he's got better draft capital and he's the same price. Or you could even go bet on Tyler Algier, who's even cheaper, who's getting that pretty much the same workload when Swift is in the lineup. Algier is getting about the same. Same with Blake Corum.
Well, I was going to say with Algier, there's sneaky potential of him being a starter next year going into the last year of his rookie contract now. So
yeah. So I'd rather go after the cheaper price in Algier or Blake Corum. And then you can even go after someone with even more upside, and that's Kamani Vidal, because right now Hampton is still out. We don't know when he's going to return. If you're looking for someone right now to win, you can go after Vidal, but he's also a future asset that could be used in the future more than Monongai.
Yeah, even if even you're just talking about like Swift could return this week. Actually, looking at the Bears practice report, both Monongai and Swift were limited at practice today. So
yeah, so was Roshan.
So like all three could be healthy. I mean, maybe Monongai. I almost say it the way you say it. you're rubbing off me, Jamie. But potentially he's back to being the lead back, and the others aren't healthy anyway. We don't know. It's still too early in the week to know. I suppose with just the future value. I wonder if this is maybe why his price is so elevated. Are people expecting now Monongai to even if Swift's there this year, next year he's the lead back? Is that what people I wonder are expecting?
I still think they're going to go out and get someone else.
Mm-hmm. I think some of the name, like a guy like Vidal, he'll be behind Hampton the whole time, but as a secondary guy that will still probably see work at, especially after he's been so productive now. Like, is that basically what Monongai is destined for anyway? If they do go out and get him.
Yeah, I just don't see him maintaining a full-time role. This blow-up game that he had, it was a mirage. Yeah, he had 198 total yards, right? But they put up, 47 points, and he did not hit that end zone? That tells you something right there.
It's actually, the fact that he scored all those points without a touchdown is always, because usually when you see those big spike weeks, it's okay. They usually did score a couple touchdowns. The fact that he scored, I think in Woodley, I saw 26 points, 26 and a half points without a touchdown is actually pretty incredible. So he definitely deserves credit. But to be fair, JB, do you like? I'm guessing you don't expect him to have a 26-point game the rest of the season.
Oh no,
So
I don't think the
why
rest of
buy
his
him
career,
now when you're not going to get that production?
the rest of his career, I don't think he's ever going to hit that point ever again. So people are going to overreact. They're going to go out and try to get him, and I don't think you're going to be able to get him for anything less than a second right now. And I wouldn't pay that price.
I mean, based on the names you were saying at running back, I think I'd almost rather like say, okay, especially if you're thinking like, okay, these guys are going to be flex starters. I'd rather just go buy wide receivers at that cost. Maybe the receivers that are get you comparable points are going to be too expensive. But like when you mentioned all that whole name of running backs, like I feel like Monongai maybe belongs there, but I almost feel hesitant to give up a second for any of those guys, to be frank. So that's just maybe a tier at running back, and maybe Monongai to me represents several players that's not how I want to invest a second in right now.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I would give up a third for him. Honestly,
I guess I view thirds as spot starts, right? If I'm setting a third for someone, I'm expecting them to be in my lineup this week. And I guess that's the scary thing with Monongai. If I gave up a third for him and then find out Swift's playing, do I feel comfortable starting him, right? So I think from that perspective, I understand Jamie. Today, I'd be nervous. If Swift's ruled out, I'd then be okay playing the third.
So receiver-wise,
the idea that he better be starting for me. Like I like enough teams on bye that okay, I need him to start. I'm not just gonna spend a third on Monongai to have depth and speculate. Right? Like that's not how I want to spend my picks anyway.
Yeah, like you mentioned, just you'd rather go out and get a receiver. So the receiver values that I look at Monongai is in that Troy Franklin area or Jaden Higgins area for the future. Even Jakobi Meyers, the Keon Colemans of the world. Like, give me those guys over Monongai.
I'm sorry. Did you just say you want Keon Coleman? Wow.
I mean, yeah, over
that took me a second to register.
Monongai.
Like, oh yeah, Coleman. Yeah, Jamie touting Coleman. That's normal. That's not normal at all. Man, you Monongai.
Oh man, but like, even if you need someone to plug into your,
I actually like going out and getting a lot of those names. If you can,
yeah.
Like Troy Franklin. I mean, isn't he? I think he's tied with Sutton for the team leading targets now on the Broncos.
So what happened with Sutton and Franklin is like the first 4 weeks, Sutton was seeing, I think, 28% of the first reads, while it was only like 18% for Franklin. Now the last 4 weeks it's switched, where Franklin's getting 28% of the first reads and Sutton's only getting like 19%.
So I think it at least makes like Franklin, we should be taking him a lot more seriously. So if you could pivot from Monongai to Troy Franklin right now, I mean, like I'm adding a pick to that. I mean, I have no problem adding a third to Monongai to get Franklin, because that's someone I feel like I can comfortably start them like most weeks, even if I don't feel like I have to start Franklin every week. Okay, once guys get back from bye, I can decide. But like if ever I'm in a pinch and Franklin is a starter, you're not feeling, oh man, that's super bad. Whereas if, okay, you have to play Monongai, but Swift's active, you don't love that. That doesn't feel great. So I'd have a third. Like that to me impacts the lineup, but also some future value with a young wide receiver. Franklin's only in his second year right now, already showing chemistry with his quarterback. He to be fair, he's a fourth rounder, right? Like so even that's we don't love to bet on fourth rounders necessarily that much more than seventh rounders. Like that's all late enough day 3 picks. But I mean I don't know if you remember Franklin, but it also seemed like at that time last year, before the draft, no one was expecting to be a fourth round either. So he's someone we like as a prospect.
Yeah, I think he had a second round grade as a receiver for the real NFL draft.
Did the Broncos like make some big joke on us, like because it feels like okay, they got Marvin Mims in the second when they shouldn't have, but they also got Troy Franklin in the fourth when they shouldn't have. Like if you just switch those two draft capitals with their profiles, everything lines up and it makes sense.
Yeah,
you kind of just almost have to consider them that way, even though it's weird. That math doesn't really work and add out, but the perception of them also feels like that, especially the way they've been targeted right now. So yeah.
And then you also got to remember, like we're throwing around third round picks like they're garbage, right? But in reality, there are some good values in the third round. Like I've gotten
like
Mason
Troy Franklin
Taylor
2 years ago.
Yeah, Troy Franklin. I've gotten Mason Taylor in the third, Harold Fannin, or what's his name? Or Aronde Gaston
right.
in the fourth. Like I was looking at him in the third, and I was getting him in the fourth. Now I'm selling them for a first. There are people like that are gems, like Woody Marks. Woody Marks is another one.
The most classic example is going to be Puka Nacua. Like I don't ever remember seeing Puka go in the second round of rookie drafts.
I'm just giving some lower examples, like a Woody Marks.
More realistic, attainable. Yeah. Like we're not finding another Puka, but just to know, like that's the high end outcome of those thirds.
Exactly.
I'm sure, I wonder if the year after Puka did that, like after Puka's rookie season, if there were certain teams in league that just like they collected every third round pick they could. They would just, if I could own the whole third round pick, I'm gonna get the next Puka. That good luck to you. Yeah. So anyway, I think those are some good pivots off of Monongai, which wasn't necessarily the exercise we were trying today. It's more just to say he's not someone we want to go out and buy.
Yeah, don't overspend.
If you have him and you start him last week, you've already profited, right? Like if you have Monongai right now and he was in your lineup last week, you've already got the best out of him that you'll ever possibly need to get out of him. He might have helped you win a game. And like to have a player that you got so cheap in Dynasty, like again, 4th round rookie pick, help you get a win, even just one win, that's a huge impact. Like that one extra win in a season could be the difference between playoffs or no playoffs, 1st round buy or not. So if you have him, I don't necessarily feel you have to sell him either. Now, maybe if you can get a Troy Franklin, that's great. But like, I think the certain thing is just don't buy him. This is not the time to go buy Kyle Monongai. That's the one thing we can absolutely advise. And I can get by.
But I do think that if you can get a 2nd round pick for Monongai, you do that, because I don't think you'll ever be able to get anything higher. You're not going to be able to get a first ever. You're not going to be able to get an early second, I don't think. So I would just re-roll it, see if you can get a mid to late second for a guy that you.
Because the rebuilding team probably doesn't care. They probably don't want to invest in Monongai right now. They'd rather
most rebuilding teams don't go after running backs.
Like let's say Monongai is the starter next year, right? If you're a rebuilder, you probably want to wait till after the NFL draft, and like you look at the Bears depth chart, Swift's gone, and you say, okay, Monongai's the starter. I'll pay my early second next April or May when I know that. I don't want to do that right now. So I agree. Like,
exactly.
Late seconds are maybe about as best as you can get right now. That's fair. And I think that there's the thought of, if you're a contender, you don't really want to sell players. Like if you're a contender with Monongai, you could sell him and then use that second to go buy someone off one of the other rebuilding teams, right? Yes. So like as a contender, you shouldn't necessarily be afraid to sell players either. It's a rebuilder sell, contenders buy, but as a contender, sometimes you can strategically sell a player, get, like I said, increased value, get a 2nd round pick, and then when you're ready to use that 2nd round pick, you can maybe maximize that and profit and buy another player that otherwise someone might not have sold. Like a rebuilding team might take that second as opposed to taking Monongai. So.
Yeah. For example, I just sold Gaston for a 27 1st rounder in the Dynasty Front Office League. In this league, if you're in last place, you're kicked out. They replace you. So I took over the last place team, and I am now in 3rd place because I built this team through the draft and through trades. I am now contending. I traded Gaston for a 27 first, and I'm looking to use that 27 first to go get like a Jonathan Taylor. So I could just add something to that first to get someone that can help me now, because I didn't need Gaston. He was on my taxi squad.
I'm actually sorry. I was listening, but I'm also trying to wrap my head around like that league concept, because that probably changes the way you trade, knowing I can't finish last or I'm out of the league.
Yeah. So earlier in the year, people were trying to send me trades, and I even messaged them. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is a good value, but I can't do it because I can't end up in last place. So it did deter me from making certain trades in that league early on.
Know your rules, folks. We talk about settings, right? Like whenever we ask, like people are asking trade questions, like we love to, scoring settings and like roster settings. How many starters do you have? If you could just give us those two things. Is it PPR? Is there any tight end premium? How many starters do you have? And just give us those 3 pieces of information. We can make pretty good estimations on value and things like that. But man, like know your league rules because that throws a huge things like that just throw a huge wrench into how trades are made. But man, you could. That's a bad trap to fall into. You finished last year out of here. That trap door there's no floor to it. You're gone. This topic's done. We're going to the next one. I mean, unless you want to talk about that.
No, we're good to move on whenever you are, man.
All right, let's talk about a quarterback here. Michael Penix Jr., Falcons starting quarterback and franchise quarterback. Certainly not going to be replaced by Kirk Cousins. Man, that wasn't that great for Penix to see Cousins come in and do horrible. Then there's no thought now of replacing him anymore. Like, okay, Penix has this job. That means we should go buy him in Dynasty, right? Okay, safe to acquire. I'd be hesitant. I still don't know how much upside there really is. So I'm looking at Penix this season. Okay, this is you take the 3 games from last year too. Some high upside performances. But first year at the start, you get all training camp. So far through 9 weeks, he's had 3 games as a QB1, including last week. I believe it. Well, so far this year, his only 3 touchdown game. I think that's the idea of it. I thought it was the worst time to buy Monongai right now because of the huge performance. Penix just threw 3 touchdowns again a couple weeks after Kirk Cousins looked really bad. Like this might be some of Penix's highest dynasty value right now. And still, with that in mind, he finished as the QB 11 last week. And his best finish of the year was actually week 1 against the Buccaneers. Almost threw 300 yards, threw a couple touchdowns, 24 points in conventional scoring, finishes the QB 10. That's the ceiling he's mustered. So for a guy that's barely hitting that QB 1 mark, the weeks he does hit QB 1 because 3 weeks he's done it, bye week and an injury, that leaves what? 5 other games where he didn't do it. And some of these finishes are pretty bad. Like QB 31 overall, QB 32 overall. This is 4 other games. But if he's not a QB1, his best finish is QB 19. So all to say, like I'm concerned with the production for Penix. I don't know if he's ever going to give you anything better than a QB 10 on any given week. But I also don't think the floor is that high. So he doesn't have a high ceiling, but he also doesn't have a high floor. Feels like a really awkward quarterback to have, yet his dynasty value is going to have him a lot higher. Like I guess I didn't check JD, but like where Keep Trade Cut has him. I know in my dynasty rankings I've been looking, and I think I've got him at QB 26. And I think you can debate with him and Bryce Young, maybe even JJ McCarthy. You want to say he's a QB 2 and he's QB 24? Okay, I can get that, but anything higher than that, I feel I don't want to pay what that price is. And for young quarterbacks, I expect I'm trying to buy Michael Penix right now. It's probably costing a first. If you can get him for less than a first, I suppose that could be worth it. But do you think you could get him for an early second? Suppose if let's say you're a rebuilder and you don't have a quarterback, that might be the perfect target. Because as a contender, I really don't think he's going to help you necessarily win a championship.
So I think the people that have Michael Penix, they spent a mid-round rookie pick on him.
He's probably at early second.
106. I think he was going at the 106, 107 area, right?
No, with the 6 quarterbacks, a lot of
because it was McCarthy, JJ was going right before him.
Caleb, Drake May, even Bo Nix too. Like I
Bo Nix was going after Penix.
I'd say 50-50. I saw a lot of leagues where Bo Nix went before Penix.
Okay, so I avoided Penix like the plague, so I don't have any shares of him whatsoever.
Good for you, I would say clearly. But this trap, you avoided the trap, JD. Good job.
Yes. He was
cheap in rookie drafts, though.
I would put him outside of the top 24. Right now, give me a Stafford in a contending team. I'd rather have Stafford over Penix. Sam Darnold cooking.
Oh, hands down, I'd rather have Darnold. Has quite drastic. It's almost flipped, because that's where I had Darnold before the season, was right around that QB 24 to inside the top 30 and maybe just below, maybe 25, 26, right where Penix is now. But to me, Darnold, what he's shown the last few weeks, I've moved him into my top 20. Yeah. If you can still somehow after this spike performance from Penix get off of Penix to Sam Darnold, yes, I'll throw a third onto that. I'll throw a third to Penix to get Sam Darnold, and thinking that other manager hoping that they're maybe thinking rebuild. They think, okay, younger quarterback plus a draft pick, that's enough to get it done. Like, yeah, I think Sam Darnold's a guy I want to buy right now. And if Michael Penix lets me do that, that's perfect.
Yeah, Penix is the biggest dynasty trap you can go after. He had a big week 1 game, I believe, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, but then he like fizzled out after that. And through the 9 weeks, I believe, he only has 8 touchdowns on the year, right? But his rushing upside is nothing.
No, 8.
Only like
nine touchdowns. Sorry, 9 touchdowns.
Is it 9? Okay, so 9 touchdowns, but
9 touchdowns through 9 weeks.
3 interceptions, which isn't that bad. But the fact is, like 19 carries for 62 yards.
Yeah, he's like
you want guys that can get 62 yards in 1 game, not through 9 games. So that gives you no upside whatsoever. You're relying on those touchdowns, those passes, not throwing an interception. So I can't rely on someone like Penix, and that's why I have to put him outside my top 24. I think going into the year, people looked at him as a 15, 16 area, and I still thought that was too high.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I had him in the top 20 before the season, and so he's moved down a few spots, to be fair. He hasn't really dropped drastically, because I think when you look at those dynasty tiers, he's kind of bottoming out on that young tier of quarterbacks. I think right below him in my dynasty rankings, I do have Stafford, Rodgers, Geno Smith. Yeah. But as a contender, I'd much rather buy those guys, and it feels like you can maybe they're cheaper to acquire them than it is to go pay for Michael Penix, right? If you're maybe it hurts to give up a young draft, like a draft capital asset that will be a young player for one of these old, close to or even older than 40-year-old quarterbacks. But if you're trying to win the championship, that seems okay. Giving up that second for those guys, or maybe in a third. I bought Rodgers for last week. I'm in 2 leagues. This kind of backfired because he didn't do that well this past week. But bought Rodgers for a third plus some other stuff, or in another league 2/3. Like that, I'd much rather pay that than say an early second for Michael Penix.
Yeah. So
you said Stafford. Stafford's a lot better of a buy. That's probably a second, right? Like if you have to pay a second right now, you'd probably just rather get Stafford. That could truly be week in league winning production.
That, or I would just keep my second and then go after someone in the draft, because 2 years ago I was getting Bo Nix in the second round. This year I was getting Jackson Dart in the second round. So what's to say there's a second round quarterback next year that's going to come out that people are going to be ignoring that could turn into a Bo Nix or Jackson Dart that you would definitely rather have over Penix. So I don't even want to give up a second round pick for him. I don't think it's worth it.
All right. Was this discussion worth every penny? Anything else to talk about Michael Penix?
Oh, man. Definitely.
Certainly, there's a lot of pennies being spent by the Falcons on their quarterback group. That's not lost on anybody.
I feel like there was a joke.
That's got to be the most expensive backup quarterback contract in history. I'm sorry.
I feel like there's a joke. There's a joke looming in my mind. Why did the quarterback visit the trap house?
Because he fell in? I don't know.
The pickup. The pick up the last breaks, I guess. I don't know. That's probably not funny, but let's roll.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. Like the brakes fell off, the gas fell off, the whole car just disintegrated on that joke.
Yes, but yeah, don't go after
our
Penix.
Impersonation of Michael Penix, folks. Like that's what the Michael Penix experience feels like, is living through that joke.
So if you're a contender, I would go look to sell Penix to a rebuilder and be like, hey, give me your second round pick for him, and then you get that 201, 202. But don't go buying him. It's a trap. It's going to break your team in the long run. I don't recommend it.
And I mean, we talked about 2 young players to not, right? And those, like Monongai and Penix, could both be viewed as, okay, even if this year they don't help me win a championship, they could still help me long term. a certain point, like I really want to win a championship right now if I'm a contending team, right? So that whole idea of, okay, they're young assets, so it's okay to buy them. Like sometimes we feel more guilty about, okay, going after a really old asset or a real, like again, like an Aaron Rodgers, like are we really giving up these draft capital, even if it's late draft picks to get this guy? And I wonder if, I mean, that sometimes is the cheaper way to do it, and the way that, okay, it's economical for a contender to go buy older players. Still doesn't mean that you should do it. Stefon Diggs might be proof of that you don't necessarily have to buy the players. Oh, you're a contender, go buy the old players. You don't always have to do that. There might be better, in this case, wide receivers to buy other than Stefon Diggs. So, Skinny, you're a trap wide receiver. One of them, anyway, is Stefon Diggs.
Yeah, so I believe last week he revived himself, getting a touchdown. I think in week 8 and 9, he had back-to-back touchdowns. But the target spread is very thin in New England right now. And he's not really getting those yards that you really need to be a reliable asset to put in your lineup. Yeah, I think, can you check this? But I think he's wide receiver 24 on the year in that low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 area. But the games are too far in between, and he's not really getting those yards. So at age 31, I would call him a wide receiver 3 in Dynasty. His floor is declining, and the Pats, the Pats offense is rebuilding. So there's no real room for him to grow. So I would cash out now while you can, and I would recommend avoiding him like the plague if you could, because even as a contender, I'm not willing to pay that price for Stefon Diggs. He's probably going to cost you a mid-second, maybe even an early second, and I wouldn't even pay that. Like, I don't even think I would pay a late second as a contender to get Stefon Diggs on my team, because at Diggs' price, I'd rather go after other guys. For example, Jaden Reed's going to be coming back soon, right? He's younger. Chris Godwin, he's a couple years younger than Diggs, and he can come back in a couple weeks, maybe help your team. Rest of the season, like Diggs and Olave shouldn't be too far apart on a seasonal base right now. So are you going to go? I'd rather go pay that little bit extra for that younger receiver that's going to help you right now and down the line. Rest of the season, if Diggs is a top 30 receiver, I'd rather find another player in that area who is going to cost maybe a tiny bit more, and you're going to be able to use him right now and down the line for Dynasty. What do you think?
Well, is Stefon Diggs a top 30 receiver? You were right, Jamie. So right now in full PPR, total points scored through the season, he's wide receiver 22. But as soon as you start filtering for points per game, drops to wide receiver 37.
There you go. That's why you're the genius, man.
I mean, I just went to like fantasy leaders, and then after I clicked on the average and toggled them there. So that wasn't all that brilliant. But thank you, Jamie. But I mean, hey, you're the one who called it, right? Like you said, okay, top 24 right now, and people might be viewing that. I think he's wide receiver 22. You look at it, what is he actually giving you every time he plays? It's not even that top 30 guy.
It's not much.
Do you want to hear some names that are ahead of him in points per game?
Yeah, let's hear them.
So Khalil Shakir, in again full PPR, just 0.1 points.
I would never have guessed that. Never have guessed Shakir.
And I mean, is Shakir that much more expensive than Diggs? He's probably
I think he's cheaper.
I mean, even if he isn't cheaper, I'd much rather pay a second for Khalil Shakir than Stefon Diggs. Just age one, but I mean, it's a good offense for the Patriots, to be fair. But Shakir's role his role on the Bills seems like what Diggs' role on the Patriots is now, that consistent target guy. But the touchdowns aren't coming. Like they haven't really been there.
The thing with Shakur's a guy that you could plug into your lineup. He's going to get you 10 points, right? If you need 20,
12 this year.
Well, let's say you need 20.
Yeah.
He's probably still going to get you 10, but there's always that chance for him to get you 20.
I mean, right now, Diggs and Shakir have the same number of 20-point weeks, which is 1 each.
There you go.
I mean, they're not that much different of a player, but what is significantly younger? If the price isn't going to be significantly higher, yeah.
So you can go after Shakur for a cheaper price, or like I mentioned, you can go after Olave for a little bit more.
I was thinking Olave too is probably going to be a little more expensive. That's a guy you might have to spend 2 seconds on, but that's still a lot cheaper than what his price would have been even last year, let's say. And I think we expect the Saints will have better quarterback play next year. I mean, we'll see. It's not always that easy to just get better quarterbacks.
This time next year, I think Olave is going to be worth a first-round pick if he gets that quarterback.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to go pay for Olave right now for the same production that Diggs is putting up, but you have so many more years on Olave than you do Diggs.
And I think there's a good flip. Like if you buy Olave now, like you said, even after free agency hits and they get a new quarterback, or it's the draft, once that new quarterback arrives, there's going to be a bump in price that you could sell and profit right there. You don't even have to have him play a game. So you could, it's kind of like buy Olave now. You know that it's not a great situation. Whatever you get is gravy. And you think that there's going to be a value increase. It's not even about the points Olave scored.
Now, what do you think about a guy that's a little bit older? Like you're getting Chris Godwin at an injury price right now.
I'm pretty sure Diggs is older than Godwin, but or are you saying a little older than Olave? You're saying?
Well, no, Diggs or no, Godwin is about 2 years younger than Diggs, I believe.
Now, all the injuries he's been, it feels like his biological age is the same. But,
but the fact that he has his specific,
right?
But Godwin has a specific role in that offense. Even with the Buka, Godwin's as healthy is going to have a specific role. So
like,
why not go after
an injured guy? Yeah, like Godwin.
Yes,
I'm thinking
go
AJ
after
Brown
Godwin.
As well. Like, are those guys attainable because they're not playing right now, and you can get them at a bit of a dip in price? So Godwin, AJ Brown, like are injured players, you could get that maybe could even like down the stretch this year help you more than Diggs will.
Yeah, and then like Jaden Reed, I mentioned earlier.
You did.
You can get him way cheaper.
I was gonna say Green Bay Packers. Romeo Doubs is outscoring Stefon Diggs in points per game.
There you go.
I know you don't want to hear that. I know you don't want to find Doubs.
It's not reliable because of the target, but like now with Kraft out, I think Doubs can be reliable. We got Christian Watson back, but then Christian Watts or Jaden Reed, he always has his role. It's always 60% of snaps in the slot, but when he's on the field, he does get targeted.
Especially now that Tucker Kraft's out for the year, that over the middle slot / tight end role that they love. Like right now, they don't have anyone to play that. So once Reed's back, he's going to for sure play that full time, and like that's might even see an increase in snaps just because we're playing so much more of that 11 personnel. We're not playing 12 personnel as much. We don't have the second tight end that we want to throw out there. It's he's only playing when there's 3 wide receivers out there, but maybe when he's back, they're almost always playing 3 wide receivers. I mean, that's always been their number one formation in terms of snaps played anyway. So I always felt like the argument of Reed only plays in the slot and doesn't play on the outside is, that means he only plays this many snaps. Still, they're using that formation a lot. 11 personnel.
So
Wan'Dale Robinson's the one last name that it's within a point per game.
Yes.
He
was in the back of my mind.
Diggs. Yep. So it's again, the production's all about the same, but you feel a lot more secure about what you're getting with these players long term. And I mean, if they're giving you all about the same type of production anyway, but that's where we want to invest in. So all you think Diggs, older player contender, but there could also be some younger players that are giving you exactly what Stefon Diggs is right
now. Michael Pittman comes to mind. You could probably get the same price for Michael Pittman as Stefon Diggs, right? Well, maybe not.
Penix.
Yeah, not maybe not.
Penix, I think. Pittman, I think because we're talking Michael Penix. Pittman at points, I think, was less than a first this year. I think he really dipped in price. Now that Daniel Jones has arrived there and he's produced, I would imagine Pittman's back to being worth the first.
For example, like during the rookie draft, I was trying to sell Michael Pittman for an early third, and I was giving it straight up Michael Pittman for that 3rd round pick. I was trying to go after Harold Fannin.
Oh, okay.
But everyone declined it. And as soon as Harold Fannin went off the board, I stopped sending trades. Now, I bet
and now
those
you're
people
super happy that they
I am
rejected those
happy about
offers.
that. But I also would have been happy if I also got Harold Fannin because I love the dude.
Well, I mean, right now, if you tried to sell Michael Pittman for Harold Fannin.
Oh, you can get Harold Fannin plus.
Exactly. So I mean, the leagues where you have Pittman, you could probably go do that now, and you're gonna still get your profit. You'll get your Fannin, and you'll still get another draft pick to maybe speculate.
But Pittman, his value did jump, and I do think it is at late first, early second value right now. But Stefon Diggs is that mid-second value. So,
frankly, if I'm looking at like a contender and like, okay, I've got my first and my second, I think I'd rather just give it my first for Pittman than give it my second for Diggs. Frankly,
yes,
it's going to be more expensive. I'd rather do that anyway because I feel you're getting younger, but Pittman's also right now. Pittman is the wide receiver 10 in PPR points per game. So that's the elite guy I want to go buy. To be fair,
and if you want to go the other way, go get Downs, who's cheaper.
Yes,
and get Downs plus, give up Diggs.
I mean, I guess is Downs dropped in price that much because people. I mean, I guess the injury, right? The lack of production. I mean,
and the lack of targets and the slot role with
Tyler
Warren taking over there. But I still think he's a talented receiver that's still gonna be valuable in the future. He's still young.
I mean, I think realistically you can just probably do it straight up. Like if you wanted to
I'd rather trade up
manager right now with Diggs, especially I think. I mean, if Josh Downs is on a rebuilder, you're not going to be able to. Like that's not the asset a rebuilder would want. But if they're on a contending team that feels like, man, Diggs will get me, because Diggs is outscoring Downs right now by about almost 2 points per game, full PPR. So like a contender would see that as I want those extra points. I want to pivot from Downs to Diggs. But, you're saying as a dynasty value asset, stick with Downs. It's a dip right now. He's down in value, but go buy that out.
Yep, 100%.
All right, so I want to talk about a tight end, TJ Hockenson. This is really quick here because So here's 3 games. That's all we have so far with JJ McCarthy. It's a small sample size, but after a big week last week, people might be wanting to go buy him. But you look deeper into the week, like what did he actually do? He scored a touchdown, and that's the beauty part of it. Points wise, I guess even with that touchdown, he still finishes the tight end 18 last week. So the biggest problem is in the 3 games with JJ McCarthy, 4 targets, 3 targets, and then last week's spike game, 3 targets. And that it's only his second touchdown of the year, and those are his 2 best games, and we're talking about 8 points. I guess that was standard. No, sorry, full PPR. 9 points. My mistake. Just over 9 points for TJ Hockenson. And that's his second best performance. That's his best game with McCarthy, but also 4 targets, 3 targets, 3 targets. Like getting just over 3 targets a game, like that's not a recipe for success at the tight end position. So if anyone's thinking, McCarthy's there now, I want to invest in him, more likely to invest in Hockenson because McCarthy's there, that's probably not a smart decision. If anything, McCarthy seemed to be the guy targeting Jefferson. That's we've been waiting for the Jefferson spike week monster game. Well, that happened. So it does look like. I mean, Addison had his worst game of the season with McCarthy, and he's still got more targets than Hockenson. So it's maybe Addison is hurt by McCarthy, but I don't think Hockenson is the one that gains from it. It's mostly just going to be Jefferson. It looks like. So if people view Hockenson as this now buying opportunity because McCarthy's there, I don't think McCarthy targets him enough to make that work. So it's all about the targets, me and tight end. So I don't really have some big spiel, but I'm not chasing. I'm chasing the lack of targets and being chased by Hockenson. I'm running away by Hockenstein, the monster. I don't want to chase towards him and trade him. You can chase me. I'm going to try and avoid the trap of falling while I'm running. But I hope I weave my way back to the episode. Jokes and puns. But But no joke. Jamie is speechless because of TJ Hockenson. That is incredible. But you're on mute, Jamie. That was the joke I was trying to make. Yeah, you're still on mute, Jamie. That was the joke I was trying to make. I can't be subtle about it. I have to just go out and say it, apparently. That's what I'm telling people. Don't trade for TJ Hockenson. It's a trap, folks.
And I agree, because 100% in a fantasy mind, you think, oh, well, rookie quarterback loves to target their tight ends, but JJ McCarthy, I guess you can consider him a rookie this year, right?
I mean, he's about to make his 4th career start, so yeah.
Exactly. So you would think they love to rely on their tight end, but no, JJ is going deep. He is going after Jefferson, Addison, but you have to think. So week 9, TJ Hockenson did return some value because of that touchdown, but he's not seeing the target volume. And it's really like tough matchup coming up this week. First tight ends, I think he's facing Baltimore, right? That's a tough matchup. I think people still look at TJ Hockenson as a top 12 value, but in my mind, it falls because you need to sell him now and do not go buy him as a top 12 tight end. And you're going to be overpaying just off the name value alone right now if you go out and buy him, because I think he should be looked at more as a tight end. I'd say 17 to 20 value.
I was going to say right around 20, even if
I would say 20.
Might say below 20, but yeah.
Exactly. It could be 21, 22. I agree. But people are still looking at him at name value as a top 12, and that just doesn't click with me because nobody is going to go sell. I'm not going to sell him for the 20th overall tight end, but I'm not going to go buy him for the 12th overall tight end either. So maybe the rest of the season, I think he can probably get you top 15 value, but you'll need to pay that top 12 price just on that name alone, and it's not worth it. I am not paying top 15 tight end value for TJ Hockenson.
Can you just buy Dalton Schultz instead?
I'd rather have Dalton Schultz, honestly.
It feels like that's probably gonna. I mean, maybe it costs you the same, but even if it does, like that's where we'd rather put the investment in.
I mean, I think you could even go out there and look at maybe a Harold Fannin. And Fannin.
I mean, you know what? He has started to cool down. I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Earlier in the season, it would have been a lot harder to buy him. I think. I'm thinking with Fannin, does he get a boost if Shedeur Sanders starts? Do people get hyped from that? Like maybe you should go buy Fannin while Dylan Gabriel's still the starter. But I also wonder, someone we also both really like, another athletic tight end.
Theo Johnson, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I already know it. The Canadian. That's someone that's maybe a buy target, whatever, he's someone I'm willing to speculate on a borderline top 12 price.
So I actually have Theo Johnson above TJ Hockenson in my dynasty rank. So if you can go out and get Theo Johnson and a third to give up Hockenson, do that all day. Another name.
I mean,
another name that I'd rather have.
Sure. I'd give a Hockenson a third for sure for Johnson.
Yes. But
Hockenson
in the
second might be pushing it, because you might almost want to go buy just Theo Johnson for a second on his own, right?
I think you could probably get Theo Johnson for an early third on his own right now. But another name that I was thinking is I'd rather have Bretton Strange over Hockenson, but you could probably get a plus on top of Strange to move off of Hockenson.
You're right, because of the injury. Yeah, he'd be so cheap that someone they'll gladly take Hockenson. You're right. Yeah, that's a good move.
He's 4 years younger, and I just think with that offense right now with the injuries, He's going to come back in a couple weeks. I think week 11 is his comeback date. People are going to notice him. But if you buy him now, before week 10, I think you can do that and get a good value on Brenton Strange.
Okay, so we'll keep it tight there for that section. But Jamie, I guess we'll make it even quick. These fast traps. The Williams brothers, they're not brothers, they're not related. Yes. But the Williams, you consider two Williams to be dynasty trade traps. So I'll let you make your spiel on both of them.
Yeah, let's start with the Kyren Williams hate on my part.
Of course, Jamie's going to start talking about Kyren Williams.
He had a season high 114 rush yards and a touchdown in week 9. But the touchdowns from last year are down. He had 14 last year, just 3 on the ground this year, 3 in the air, and 2 of those in the air, they came from the same game. Then you have to factor in, I think we talked about Blake Corum earlier. He's creeping in. Last week was the only. Where am I going with this? I'm just saying, Kyren Williams fantasy value.
You need more of the snaps, right? Like each week, it seems like it's Williams is still the leader, but Corum is getting more.
Yes. So Kyren Williams is fading. You should look at him right now as a mid RB2 value, but that's also going down because you're going to need to pay a late first to get Kyren right now, which is way too expensive for his inefficiency.
And I can testify to that because I was trying to go buy him, and it was okay. First plus was what it was going to cost.
Yeah, and if you own Kyren, give him away for a late first to any contender right now.
Feels like Jamie's talking to me specifically, since anyone who watched the most rostered episode, he's no longer my most rostered player overall because I picked up so much Olamide Zaccheaus that he is actually now my most rostered player, so I can officially say that. But yeah.
I'm just saying, don't go wasting your draft capital on buying Kyren Williams because the inefficiency is way down, the touchdowns are way down, and you have the running back and Blake Corum just creeping up behind him. And people have forgot about Jacquez Hunter. Not a name we talk about.
2 weeks in a row, their last 2 games, Corum's had double-digit carries.
Yes.
Didn't happen the rest of the season. So it does seem to be
I'm avoiding Kyren Williams like the plague. I don't want to buy him. And if I have him, which I don't,
yeah, I know. You've already been avoiding them all year, so this is the easiest thing for you. This is again the segment for me. It feels like I'm being spoken to here.
So
thanks for speaking to us.
You would sell Kyren for a first, even if you're a contender, just to get him off your roster, in my opinion, because I don't think his value is going to go any higher. It's only going to go down from here.
It could also maintain. I think that I know the leagues where I have him. I think for the most part I am contending. So yeah, that's. I mean, we talked about it as a contender. You shouldn't be afraid to sell, but that one.
You have a 1-year window for Kyren, I think, to sell him now for his highest price.
And that's fair. Sure. Yeah, and because he's kind of plateaued the last couple of years. What his value's been, it's been pretty steady. So. Doesn't mean that every manager, because there's always a Jamie in your league that doesn't want Kyren at all. So you can't sell Kyren to Jamie. But
so my question is, if you're a contender and you have Cam Skattebo on your IR and you're looking for a running back, would you buy Kyren Williams for Cam Skattebo straight up?
Yes,
absolutely. Exactly. I would love Cam Skattebo.
Sorry, no, I would sell Skattebo for Kyren.
I'm giving up Kyren for Skattebo.
You see, I'm not. Especially if I'm content, because here's the thing, Jamie. In the FPC Dynasty League we're in together, the only league where I've got Cam Skattebo, I have been trying to sell him the last couple of weeks. Now I haven't. I've kind of been focused on 2 very specific players, but it seems like those last week that was the focus was, man, what do I have to do to go buy Jonathan Taylor? How many firsts will it take for Achille to go Jonathan Taylor? Apparently, the limit does not exist. There's no amount of firsts. So that's not going to happen. Christian McCaffrey is another target. Doesn't seem like that's not someone I'm willing to necessarily add a first on to Scatterboo to get. And it seems like that might be what it takes. So I'm looking to maybe more aggressively shop Scatterboo. Problem is, like, I can tell you 100% certain, Jamie, I will not try and buy Kyren Williams with Scatterboo. You know how I can tell you that? He's already on my team, so I can't buy him anyway.
Well, I'm thinking it can go either way. Like, if you are a contender, I could see you giving up Kyren Williams or getting Kyren Williams for giving up Scatterboo, but I'd rather have Scatterboo on my team. Either way.
I'm sure there's a lot of players who'd rather have the Kyren Williams. Now, I'm guessing Jameson Williams isn't one of those players, or maybe he is actually. I don't know. Maybe you hate Kyren that much, so you'd rather have JMO, but.
Yeah, JMO, we'll keep it quick. Boom or bust. We know it. We talked about it all off season and in depth on this episodes. But his highlight reel, it's like 37 yards and a touchdown. Whipped he freaking do like maybe 66 yards. Well, that's what he got last week. 66 yards, right? Wide receiver 18. I think that's his ceiling. Like he's a boom bust. So outside those 3 spike weeks he had, like he's definitely buried behind St. Brown, Laporta, and even Gibbs. They're prioritizing Gibbs touches over Jameson Williams. So I'm not going out and wasting future capital just to get a 0 in my lineup. Maybe he hits that, Cortland Sutton area once in a while, but I'm definitely not wasting draft capital on a guy that can get me a 0 in my lineup as a contender.
It feels like it's a lot easier to buy boomer bust depth wide receivers. Like they're easy to be like thrown in, making bigger trades. You get one thrown in, or shallower enough dynasty leagues. There might be some guys that are startable on waivers as well. So he doesn't represent a scarce asset. Like depth receivers like that can be boomer bust, that can spike on any given week. Like there's so many of them in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a few guys earlier that I'd rather have in the same area, like a Michael Pittman, Chris Olave. Give me a DJ Moore, probably the same price. Even at Cortland Sutton, like I just mentioned, I'd rather have all those guys over at Jameson Williams. And they're probably the exact same price.
Again, I'm going to guess Pittman's maybe a little bit more expensive than that. Again, I think it's worth it to spend a little more to get more your money's worth, so to speak, and get a guy like Pittman. Yeah. So whatever you're thinking of spending for JMO, up that price and try and go buy Michael Pittman instead. Is it the Michael Pittman buy show? Apparently, I don't know, but it's because of how far he's fallen this offseason in terms of value. Is there still enough stink on him that like he's more attainable than he should be? By Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
Boom bust wide receivers were certainly in vogue at the NFL trade deadline. Were there traps that the NFL teams fell into? I don't know. But there's 3 trades I want to talk about here because they involve wide receivers. Well, we have the Jets-Colts trade, and let's be real. The receiver involved in this trade is kind of an afterthought, but still want to talk about those dynasty implications. So the New York Jets decided to sell cornerback Sauce Gardner. In return, they got 2 first-round picks, a 2026 first, 2027 first from the Indianapolis Colts. But the Colts also decided to throw in wide receiver Adonai Mitchell. Yeah. So now Mitchell on the Jets, Sauce Gardner on the Colts. We're not an IDP show, but like the short end is Colts defense better, right?
Yes, 100%.
Because they didn't really have a true shutdown corner there, but they also have the framework around him. Like the rest of the defense operates well enough that you throw a corner in there, like suddenly this is a really imposing unit that seems like they're seriously looking. We want to win the Super Bowl. That's the message this sends. Which sure the players probably get energized from that. But
this really
does this help? Helps. Does this help Jonathan Taylor? Right?
Yes, I was going to say this really helps Jonathan Taylor.
Super Bowl, right? I mean, he's already like the RB1 or 2, depending on scoring settings. Like he's gonna move up much.
So yeah, I would move up Jonathan Taylor from RB1 to RB negative.
I was gonna say RB 0.75.
Move him up.
RB 0.5 because he's a better half PPR guy anyway.
But what this really does is I think it helps Pierce. They really saw what they had in Pierce in that downfield game, and they didn't need AD Mitchell in that same type of role. So they just gave him up. He is a young prospect, and I think the Jets, as a rebuilder, it could help AD Mitchell kind of step up if they get some kind of a quarterback that can get the ball downfield. Because I think AD Mitchell as a number 2 on the Jets can be way better than a number 4 on the Colts. They just need to find their quarterback.
Yeah, the talent competition there is he's not like even Alec Pierce was tough for him to surmount. I mean, really, yeah. I don't really think this does anything for the Colts offensive players. I was joking about Sauce Gardner makes the defense better, but like because Mitchell was doing so little lately that Pierce was already running most of the snaps.
Mitchell
was never going to approach
Mitchell in preseason. Preseason, Mitchell was booming.
Yep. And I mean, even early in the season, he was getting his reps. Man, that one game, right? He was doing amazing, and then he fumbled at the end zone, right? Like it seems like he's never been able to recover from that from the rest of the team, coaching staff, because he's like, especially the coaching staff, because he's barely gotten on the field since that. And so part of that's coincided with Josh Downs returning from injury too, but it looked like he was buried as they've already got their 3 starting wide receivers. He's not going to overpass any of them. Now, wide open to be the number 2 on the Jets, even if he's not the number 2 this year, because the truth is with all these players, and I don't think anyone's going after Adonai Mitchell and saying, he's going to be a league winner. He expects very little from him this year, but 2026 Adonai Mitchell, like this is someone as you speculatively buy cheaply now, to hold them to think that they increase in value in 2026. I mean, that's you're thinking better quarterback, right? So buy him now before he gets that better quarterback.
I mean, I think you can get him for a 4th, just a throw-in. Like I would go for a bigger trade and just add
like the Jets did, right?
Just have him as a throw-in because this dude can return his 2nd round rookie value or early 3rd, late 2nd.
I think the Colts spent a 2nd round pick on him. I think you were
okay. So it was a 2nd round. I think he's going to return that eventually. So if you're a rebuilder, go buy this guy for cheap. Go give him a 4th round pick. Go give him $50.
You don't care if he does nothing with the Jets this year. Because if you're a rebuilder, like that's the 0 he gets in the lineups a lot of weeks. Like that doesn't matter. But if there's an increase in value even at all next year, even just a perception in value, you might be able to profit. So I like it. I guess because we can move on. It's funny because again, this trade for the Colts is all about getting an elite corner we don't really care about. It's funny how the Colts, they spent the 2nd round pick on Adonai Mitchell, and what you see sometimes teams move on from a player, they'll sell them for a 5th. This they probably feel a bit better about. Like, okay, we had to put him in this trade to help us get Sauce Gardner. I mean, it does very little for the value. The Jets probably would have accepted if it really came down to it, and they said no. We'll take the 2 first without Adonai Mitchell. And he probably did so little for the value of the trade, but he's in the trade, so the Colts can kind of it cost us, like the way the Colts see it is it cost us 2 firsts and a 2nd for Sauce Gardner. But that 2nd is Adonai Mitchell, which we value right now is far less than a 2nd. But we spent a 2nd on him. So, in your mind, that's how they probably justify that. Like, they sleep easy. Like, man, we took Adonai Mitchell and we were able to flip him for a part of this huge trade, even if he, again, counted for so little of the value, I'm sure. Anyway, we flipped through that one quick enough. Maybe better fantasy implications here. The Seattle Seahawks traded for wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, and the New Orleans Saints, in exchange, got a 4th round pick and a 5th round pick. Shaheed on the Seahawks now. Obviously, Jackson Smith-Njigba is the team's number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
Does Shaheed fit into the rotation now?
For me, I think it's more of a depth piece. If I remember, I think Horton was only getting 10% of the targets, maybe a little bit more. and Shaheed.
It might have gone up last week without Cooper Kupp.
And then what was Shaheed? Shaheed was getting about 18, maybe 17% on his team. But I think this is more of a trade because they think Cooper Kupp is more injured than we actually are led to believe. So I think he's coming in as the depth piece. Him and Horton are probably going to eat into each other. So I don't think you can rely on either of those guys going forward this year. JSN obviously is the number one. You want a piece of those tight ends. But for receiver-wise, I don't know, man. Shaheed just seems like a trap to me. Going to this offense, splitting with Horton. I could see them both getting at least 10% each. That's it. Maybe 12 of the targets.
I think the Seahawks use Shaheed as a clear increase to their NFL roster. He can run routes in a certain way that's going to
NFL-wise, things up. Yeah,
I can see why they made the trade. That's not the role we want to invest in the offense. I actually think Torrey Horton will still be startable for now, especially as Shaheed, because I don't expect him to come out, especially with the depth of targets that he's likely going to get. That's going to take time to reach that chemistry with Darnold. So I actually think Horton is still startable right now. As the season goes on and Darnold and Shaheed get more practice time together, maybe that's when they think they start to eat into each other, and that's when they become unplayable. I actually think I want to start Horton right now. In the aftermath of this trade, these are probably still the best weeks to start Horton. Eventually, though, fantasy playoffs wise, you might not be able to rely on him much. But I know I don't think this hurts Horton as much as because I've seen that kind of aftershock, on Twitter and just people talking about this, especially from a dynasty perspective. Because the talk is that Shaheed's about to be a free agent, but he might prioritize Seattle, and there might be an extension that happens before free agency. So does that hurt Horton long term? It might, but I think in the short term, it actually doesn't that much.
Yeah, this is more of an NFL type move than it is for our fantasy rosters. And I think it does hurt Shaheed because
for sure. I think you might have been starting him on the Saints with getting those targets. I think, definitely this. You've maybe
aren't going to be able.
I agree.
Yeah, you aren't going to be able to start him, especially now that it's in November, going into December. It's going to be those cold weather games. They're going to be using the running backs. So Charbonnet and Walker are going to get more work going forward, and it's going to hurt the long ball, which would be Shaheed and Horton. JSN's still going to get his, but I just think it's more of the NFL move to take the top off the defense, to get people off of the running game going into those cold weather atmosphere.
Now, because we expect Shaheed to play so poorly, or to just not be, maybe not even playing poorly, playing well, but just not earning targets, not producing, do we actually think of him as a sneaky buy later in the season with the thought of next year, we expect 2026 Shaheed to be a lot better? If he's back on the Seahawks, he'll have a whole training camp with Darnold. You could maybe start off on the right foot a lot better. Is it something where you buy him? When we expect a dip in production, you went from him being at least usable on the Saints to maybe you get nothing from him in terms of fantasy points the rest of the year. Those managers late in the season might be willing to sell for anything. Is that a cheap time to buy Shaheed thinking he bounces back next year? Because I think you've almost lost him as a starter the rest of the season. Is my expectation. I could be totally wrong, but the mid-season trades for players usually really hurts the receiver. I think he's more than anyone in this situation. Definitely. He's probably the one who's hurt the most. And that's why I don't think it's a huge loss for Horton, because you're already saying he wasn't seeing a huge ton of targets before. It's not like he has this huge he's going to lose a bunch of targets. Whatever Horton's role's been, it's probably going to continue to be that, which has been really boom bust. And back to Jameson Williams, just get Torrey Horton, right? Because it feels like he's the way cheaper version of Jameson Williams. Am I wrong there?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I can't argue with you on that.
I suppose Rashid Shaheed will soon be the even cheaper version of that. But from the Saints side, does this really change much? Because who steps up now? Does it mean more Brandon Cooks targets? I don't know. It's not necessarily something we want right now. But
Juwan Johnson, maybe. Maybe we
The
see
leagues
more out
where
of
I've
the.
got Jawan Johnson, I do have more confidence starting. Okay, thinking
But
the targets will just maintain the rest of the season.
but I do see more out of the running back going into the cold weather games. I think
Tough to
Devin
see less from
Neal,
them. They've done so little this year.
Devin Neal going forward, I think could be a sneaky low buy. If I remember correctly, pre-draft,
Mhm.
Devin Neal was going late first round in mocks.
I was certainly
And
mocking him there and ranking him there. Like,
yes,
he was my
and then all of a sudden
RB3
he
right
he
before the draft.
tanked. He tanked. We all know the talent is there. We have Miller, Kendra Miller. He's on IR. We have Kamara, who's getting older and not healthy. So why not go buy Devin Neal cheap right now? Because we were getting him in the late third, fourth rounds of rookie drafts anyway.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
What's to say that he can't be that guy like Kyle Monongai or Ryan Gaston that shoots up to that late first round value? So why not?
Monongai is great because all it takes is that one game where Neal sees a bunch of carries and happens to produce.
So why not go get him now? Because we know the talent is there. We saw it earlier in the season with the Chargers guy, Gordon. Gordon was also another talent people were on. He spiked a little bit, but it kind of leveled out. Another talent, but I don't see why Devin Neal can't be a cheap buy right now. That could be a first round type value going in the future. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, for sure. I do really like that. I mean, again, he was my RB3, I think, right before the draft.
Yep.
I think, yeah, Genty, Hampton, Neal, Scadaboo, like those were my top 4 going into the draft. And certainly Scadaboo fell a bit. Neal fell really far. I think he was a 6th round pick in the draft, if I'm not mistaken. But
5th, I think. Maybe 6th.
You just saw Monongai. You said it. He's a 7th rounder and he produced. So no matter how late Devin Neal went, it's still not too late to where he can't produce.
Yeah. So shit. Instead of going buying Monongai, go buy Devin Neal for
if the archetype
a third of the price.
Exactly, right? Like if the archetype of, man, I want to buy Monongai a week ago, that might be Devin Neal. So yeah, that's a great call, Jamie. One last trade to discuss that came from the NFL trade deadline. The Jacksonville Jaguars and their recent opponent, the Raiders, completed a trade.
Yes.
Heck, if you made it right after the game, maybe Jakobi Meyers didn't even have to. You could have gone to a different locker room. Here's the jersey. I'll go grab the Raiders. You do the jersey swap and you just keep the other jersey, and that's anyway. Jacksonville Jaguars get Jakobi Meyers, wide receiver. The Las Vegas Raiders get a 4th and a 6th round pick. It's almost the identical price that the Seahawks paid for Shaheed. So yeah, thoughts on Jakobi Meyers?
I think this is a great trade for the Jags. They lost. Well, first BTJ is dealing with some kind of injury, and it's lingering.
And you talked about his name already. Bretton Strange is on IR, so they already lost their starting tight end, and then they expect him back at some point. But still, like they don't have him.
I expect
Hunter's on IR.
Yeah.
Those are their 3 top pass catchers to start the year. Like, that was probably the plan. Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, Bretton Strange.
So
we saw what they planned to be their core 3.
We saw Travis Hunter. He started slow on offense, but then the 3 games before he was put on IR, he was getting like 80 to 85% of the offensive snaps. They were using him like they should have. But then all of a sudden, magically, out of nowhere, didn't even see it coming. They put him on IR. Now it's down to BTJ. And who else? Parker Washington. Diami Brown's hurt. They have no one else because Strange is on IR. They expect him back week 11, maybe 12. But still, they need someone. And Meyers is the perfect guy to step right in. And this isn't going to be a Shaheed scenario where it takes him a couple weeks to get acclimated. He's going to step in right away. He's going to be targeted often and a lot. So I love this Meyers trade for the Jaguars. I'm still starting Parker Washington this week. But going forward, I'd rather have Jakobi Meyers.
I also agree with that take of, okay, you still want to start maybe Washington now. Myers can play on the outside, Washington the slot, but Myers could also move into the slot, to be fair.
Yeah.
I tend to I wonder if the sentiment about Myers is, of these players, of Adonai Mitchell, Rashid Shaheed, Myers is the one people want to buy. That kind of makes me want to sell him. And again, bet against the receivers traded midseason. And I think Myers is talented, but I don't think he's quite talented enough to pull that off and may have it work. Because truthfully, Jamie, I agree. I do see him getting a lot of targets. Targets have not been the issue for, say, Brian Thomas Jr. It's been catching them. And I still think that's going to be an issue if he's not on the same page with Lawrence. And it looks like it might be difficult to get on the same page with Lawrence. And notoriously difficult quarterback, Lawrence. I mean, I'm speculating here, but it does seem like there's been issues with pass catchers, but also issues with Lawrence. And I don't know. I don't think Jakobi Meyers comes in and magically solves it.
So I don't know Jakobi Meyers' contract situation.
I can look it up.
If we could look that up.
I do wonder if this was the last year of his deal. I thought he wanted an extension. He didn't want to be on just a 1-year deal. Like, I think that was the issue. Because I believe he put in a trade request early in before the season, and the team said no, and they've now done it. Way to show him.
Yeah.
So I do think, I just pulled it up. He is in the last year of his contract. So the Jags, I mean, it's on them to extend him if they want him. Or, I mean, I really do think right now the only thing the Jags are thinking about is replacing all these injuries. And I think it makes sense for them. This is, again, another trade that from an NFL perspective makes sense. I'm just hesitant to think that Myers is going to be as good for fantasy as he has been now the last couple of years. So I've already in one league, I've got Myers aggressively not aggressively, but I've started sending out offers. Can I get a second? Does this move to the Jags increase things enough that you could sell him for a second? That's my first move to make this week, I think. More than anything, take away from this trade deadline. If you got Jakobi Myers, because unlike Shaheed, where this, I think, totally tanks his value, your perception, Jamie, of, man, this is a good thing for Myers, I think that's shared. I think a lot of people think that. And to be fair, Jags' offense looks a lot better than the Raiders' offense. That's the passing environment you'd rather be in. But I still think it's an amazing spot to be. So
I think this helps Trey Tucker also.
Yes. He's now.
But it could also hurt him because now people are going to be focusing on him as the number one.
I don't think, now that Bowers is back, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Now teams are going to be approached it. Okay, we have to find a way to stop Bowers. So I think that will help Tucker. He's still going to see teams top corners, but that was never going to change anyway with Myers there, because Myers was still playing a lot in the slot. So if you had an outside corner that didn't chase slot receivers, Tucker's probably already been seeing top corners anyway. So I don't think it gets much more difficult for him, but he probably sees more targets now.
So that could be a buy low situation for Trey Tucker. And
dude, can you sell Jakobi Myers for Trey Tucker in a second? I don't know. Maybe that's too much. Myers in a third for Tucker in a second. That probably gets done.
Yeah, that trade hurts my head. I don't know if I would even consider anything like that. I don't know.
Okay, I love doing trades like that. Oh, it's not quite okay. Tucker in a second's too much. Well, I want the second, so I'll throw in a third to make it happen. Right? We've been talking about it all night. Just thirds sometimes are the ways to make trades happen. But yeah, that's my thinking of. I think enough people think like you, Jamie, that it's a positive for Myers, that it makes it a good time to sell Myers. Because once he gets there and starts not producing, that's when that value maybe starts to dip more. Try and sell Myers this week before he steps on the field with the Jaguars. I think that's
especially with the contract situation where he may not be a Jag next year, right? Yeah. So why not sell him now?
No idea. I mean, maybe he goes to a better situation next year, and by selling him now, you miss out on that opportunity. But I don't know. I'm willing to take the chance. And again,
sell the hype.
Well, again, bet against these mid-season trades. If there's any hype surrounding them, sell off that hype. Exactly, Jamie. So that's the actionable advice we're going to take from this. Is sometimes these situations kind of make it clear, okay, to sell these players. And I feel like Myers is the perfect player who, because this trade happens, I think a lot of people expect his production to dip. Yet it doesn't. I don't think his value is dipping because people think, okay, it might dip in the short term, but end of season playoffs, he might be really helpful. I'm skeptical of that. I'm more thinking you really do want to sell Meyers, whether you're a rebuilder or contender. So that's my number one takeaway, I guess, from the show is to sell Jakobi Meyers. I'm gonna that one league I think I've got him in. Maybe I have him in more than one, but one's a salary league, and I definitely like those cheap salary rookie contracts. So if I can get a second, that's
the one takeaway from the show is we're not falling into the trap. So do not buy Meyers. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is all about not necessarily sell candidates, but players. And I mean, frankly, he wasn't even part of the trade trap section. This is all just the reactions to the NFL draft trade, but he fits in perfectly for that. So I guess it's the arc form of the episode. We've come back full circle. I guess the 6 isn't quite a circle, but fantasy6pack.net, as we entered them at the start. Great website, lots of great resources, including my goal line guide article. But
love your goal line article. I read it every week, and it helps me win money every single week because I read it and I go place my bets, and they hit more often than not. So thank you, Kyle, for feeding my kids.
Yum, food. You're welcome, Jamie. Glad to help not only Jamie but everyone else, and frankly help myself. I made this guide. I started just, I want to know this stuff. So if I thought it was good enough for me to know, well, maybe I'll share with everyone else. But you got to spend money to make money sometimes, right? And with betting, sometimes it's spending to get that F6P all access membership. But you don't have to spend full price. You can get a 15% discount right now with the promo code F6P Pods. So again, fantasy6pack.net, the Fantasy Six Pack Discord. You have the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, also subscribe at those places. You can follow your co-hosts. We'll shout out Rahul. He's at Small Talk FF. We love Rahul, so we'll definitely plug his Twitter account for those. Jamie's at Jamie Perog, and I'm at Senra Says. Any parting words for the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, just keep grinding your leagues. Trust the process. And remember, Dynasty isn't just about this season. It's about building your empire for the years to come. So stay sharp, stay ahead of the game, and stay away from the trap house.
And stay away from these Dynasty trade traps that we've outlined so well in this episode. Great topic, Jamie. Thank you, our listeners and viewers, as always. This is another episode of the Dynasty Six Pack. We'll see you all.